The Russia-Ukraine war and the Israel-Hamas conflict have been raging for over 3 years now. Now, these conflicts have brought into focus tactical gear worn by soldiers. Now, tactical gear refers to specialized clothing, equipment, accessories, protective gear, tools, and backpacks, which are built to provide functionality, durability, and protection for soldiers. Unfortunately, little attention has been paid to kitting out our soldiers and special forces units in India. But this is rapidly changing now. There are today a range of Indian startups in the military space dedicated to making tactical gear for Indian soldiers. I caught up with one such startup, Armasen Tactical. I met their founder, Vinayak Sen. Let's listen in. Vinayak Sen, who's the proprietor of Armasen, which makes cool tactical gear for the Indian military. Vinayak, welcome to News 9.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me how you began this fascinating journey of making cool tactical gear for the Indian military.
So, my grandfather, Brigadier K.P. Lahiri, he was a war veteran, a war hero, he was awarded the Veer Chakra as well. So, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be like him, and I was always tinkering with equipment. You give me a backpack, I'll open it up, make it into a harness, any straps I could find, any ropes. So I was always designing equipment till much later in life, where I finally built a little bit of equipment for myself, never thinking that it'll become a business, and happened to show it to a family friend of mine who was in the police at the time, and he said he wants to procure it for his team.
Right.
So very quickly I had to figure out how to start a business and how to get into manufacturing.
When did that happen? Which year was
this?
this?
So this was the year 2018, 2019.
Right. Not very long ago, just about
not
6 years ago.
Yeah. So
but you know, Vinayak, the thing is that everyone's fascinated by guns.
Yeah.
Of course, we got very excellent replicas over here. But equipment is not so cool. Is that the reason why the Indian Armed Forces, we got some pretty cool weapons, small arms, but the gear, well, the jury's out if we've got the best gear in the world, the kind of tactical equipment that we're wearing. How did you go towards the gear side of things and not the guns and the fancy equipment and the tactical stuff?
So the simple answer is barriers to entry.
Right.
Right. Before getting industrial manufacturing licenses and big factory setup, this was the easiest place to enter, right? And I've always found gear very, very cool, right? Guns are cool, of course. Everyone wants to have their own range of guns,
right?
But I found gear to be very cool, and it was relatively an easier entry point for me,
right?
And since I was already building it myself, I just felt that there's so much that again, this should have been done 20 years ago, to be very honest.
Right. If not 40 years ago.
Yeah, right. And to be very honest, there is no rocket science in what we are doing.
Absolutely.
Right? It's been done. We have enough precedent to follow across the globe to understand what has worked, what has not worked. And when it comes to defense products, I've always said that, first imitate, then innovate.
Right.
Because they've already, some concepts, if they've already worked in combat, there's no reason for us to reinvent the wheel. We learn from them, we understand them, we put them into our own scenarios, and then we tweak them as per our own personal
Absolutely. And there's that very famous saying about the Indian soldier, and this was said after the 1962 war, that the Indian soldier lacks everything except courage. So I think that the writer of that was talking about the fact that equipment was not there in 62, and that seems to be a constant problem with us.
Definitely.
That while as soldiers, we have the best human resource possible, the equipment is always catching up, So tell me what I've got on me right now. What have you made me wear? I'm kind of weighed down under about 10 kgs of gear.
Right. So, which is why I wanted you to experience the kit in an outdoor environment. Right. Because it gives you an idea of what our men actually have to face.
Yes.
Right. Now, imagine you're wearing all this equipment and you're climbing up a mountain, or you're wading through waist deep snow. It's an extremely difficult thing to do, right? So what we specialize in, right, is we customize equipment depending on where the user is placed, right? So whether it is in a high altitude environment, whether you're doing CICT operations, in close quarters, whether you're in a maritime environment, you're boarding ships. So very recently, if you've seen the Marcos operation where they parachute in and
off the Gulf of Eden.
That's correct, right? So a lot of the kits over there that they're using, there are kits,
Right.
So we customize it based on the environment,
Oh, right.
And what you're wearing right now, this is called the SF rig. The SF rig is the
Special Forces rig.
Rapid interchangeable gear,
Right.
Because every part of this kit can be removed
Right.
and can be replaced by a different part.
It's modular.
It's completely modular, right?
Right.
Every single thing that you see on your kit, you know, a lot of times people see our kits and they get a little overwhelmed thinking, yaar, itna kuch hai, there's so much
Right,
going on,
right.
But this is just to show you how much equipment you can carry.
Absolutely.
Right? But if you do not require it, every single piece on this kit can be removed,
Right.
replaced by a simple version.
Right.
So we build kits independently depending on the loadout. So special forces, we have a different type of kit for them.
Right.
For infantry, we have a different type of kit. For
Right.
armored, we have a different type of kit.
Right.
Depending, you know, so in, say mechanized infantry, they're in a tight, small
Right.
vehicle that
Absolutely.
way, right? So we can't give them all this bulk. It has
Right.
to be designed separately.
It has to be form fitted and
Exactly,
all of that.
exactly.
So tell me more about your clients, Vinayak. Who do you sell your gear to?
So we started with the Madhya Pradesh Police, the Hawk Commandos, back in the year 2018.
Right.
And very gradually we moved over to Marine Commandos, which is something that I've always wanted to work with.
The Indian Navy's Marine Commandos.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'd always
Very
dreamt
fine
of
unit. Yeah.
very, very fine unit, very forward-thinking, very modern unit.
Right.
And they have a niche for, you know, getting the best equipment in the market.
Right.
You know, no holds barred. So that's why I always wanted to work with them, and we were very lucky to have gotten our first few contracts with the Marine Commandos. And slowly from them, word of mouth, etc., we moved on to the Para SF, a variety of the different Para SF units. We work with the infantry, we work with Ghatak, we work with mechanized infantry, even artillery for that matter.
Right.
We started doing some work with them as well, which I wasn't expecting, but that's something that's also come into the picture.
So your clientele seems to be largely special forces.
It definitely is, because the utility of most of this gear is with the special forces community.
Right.
Right? Because whether it is in high altitude or behind enemy lines or jungle warfare, you will see the special forces always leading the charge.
Right.
But that being said, I am very impressed by the way the infantry has also decided to adopt a lot of tactical gear.
Right.
And the procurement has been fast, you know, it's not, you know, a lot of red tape. So I've been very impressed by the infantry, and I will give that to them. Apart from that, we also do a lot of work with private companies.
Right.
Private companies in the defense sector. So it's not just limited to you know, making equipment for the forces. So they say there is a private company that wants to put together a radio pack or a complete drone unit where their carrying case has to be designed, etc. So we do that kind of custom work as well.
Right.
But yes, special forces is our forte. That is who we spend a lot of time with on ground. In the environments that they are in, to understand what the problems are they're
Right.
facing. Like if you're wearing your kit, where your radio should be positioned, where your magazine should be positioned,
Yeah.
which orientation your magazine should be positioned, so when you're moving and reloading, it's easier, it's faster. So we understand these things because we spend time with them and do the drills that they're doing, and they're kind enough to have kind of included us
Right.
in those exercises as well.
Right. So it's a two-way process. You're saying that it's like you're always in touch with the military to understand their requirements. Give me an idea of how you changed your gear based on the inputs that you received from the military, the special forces units that you're in touch with.
Sure. I mean, I'll give you a very simple example, right? As you know, that we are in the midst of procuring a variety of assault rifles. So
Right.
we've got everything from 5.56 to 7.6239 to 7.6251.
It's a nightmare, I'm sure,
Yeah,
for
so you know,
gear.
exactly, right? So when we design something, we have to keep in mind, like my magazine pouches,
Right.
they can hold all three. They're
Right.
designed to hold all three.
Right.
But there is another important factor. It's the length of the magazine. I
Yes.
should have enough to grip.
Right.
So an AK magazine will come up till here, 5.56 till here, and 7.6251 till here.
Okay.
Any shorter or
Right.
any longer, I won't have the proper grip when I'm removing the
Right,
magazine, right?
right.
So these are small things that we have to look into when we're putting our kits together, because we've got such varied amount of equipment in our forces,
Right.
Then comes the factor of grenades. When we were
Right.
designing our grenade pouches, we were still using the old school grenades.
Yes.
But while we started, the Shivalik grenades have come into the picture,
Right.
in offensive and defensive mode.
Yes.
So our grenade pouches are designed in a way where you can use the old ones, the new ones.
Right.
You can use chili grenades, smoke grenades, everything within one simple structure.
Right.
So while we're spending time with them, we understand, okay, this is what's coming in, this is the new issue,
Right.
this is the environment they're working in, and we make tweaks. So just earlier when we were discussing, I was telling you about recent feedback we got from the forces about our shoulder pads, right?
Right.
So we can't just look at this as an entire kit. We have to look at it as parts,
Right.
and improvement happens part by part. So when we got feedback on shoulder pads, we started working on that. So what you're wearing and what I'm wearing are different,
Right.
I'm testing this all as we speak, you
Right.
know, when we're moving around, just to see how this is better than the previous one, right?
Right.
So there are small things where people may not consider to be very important, but we listen to that, we pay attention to that, and we try and fix it, looking at each part independently rather than as an entire system.
Right. And as are we watching your growth and rise of Armasen Tactical. Thank you very much for your time, Vinayak.
Thank you
It's such
for
a
having
pleasure
me.
to talk to you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much
Right.
for having me.